Okay, so the first transfer, all right? Remember the idea of aseptic technique. The first transfer is broth to broth. So get everything else out of the way. You're gonna have your test tube rack, but get everything else out of the way, except what you need to do this transfer. So here's your bacteria in broth, and here's any one of these, okay? Here's fresh broth, you know, okay? Here, let's use a deeper one, it doesn't matter, okay? Actually, this one should be deeper too, but it's not. All right, the color doesn't matter that much. That just means that when they sterilized this broth in the autoclave, they left this one in the autoclave a little longer, so it got darker. All right. All right. The first thing you're going to do, and is that your Sharpie marker or is that mine?
Oh, that's
Oh, okay, let me just get mine, because I said I had everything, but I didn't. I got it out, and I didn't bring it over. There it is, there it is. Okay. You try to gather everything that you're supposed to have, okay? All right. Okay, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna label, and when I should put this on the blackboard, I'll put it on the blackboard, but a label, okay? You're transferring this bacteria to this fresh, sterile broth, okay? When you're done with the transfer, your fresh, sterile broth that you made has to go to incubation. We talked about this in lecture. So I'll put a test tube rack in here for people to put their test tubes in, their transfers when they're done, all right? And when you're done with your transfers, you should have made 2 brand new broths and 2 brand new slants. Everybody understand that? So you're gonna be putting per person 4 test tubes into the racks that I put in here. Don't add racks, because we don't have enough to go around, okay? I'll put racks in here. If we need more, I'll add a rack, okay? But when you're done with your transfers, your tubes will go here, all right? And this is our incubation bucket, okay? Or bin, incubation bin. All right, so the first thing you do is you're gonna label your transfer, and I will make this list on the blackboard. After this incubates, this bin is gonna come back to the room tomorrow. The techs are gonna bring it back. So how are you gonna find the tubes that you made? So the first thing that you're gonna do on your label is put your initials, okay? I sometimes look to see if anybody shares initials in the class. Then you may use your middle initial, okay? Or if you want, just automatically use your middle initial. Mine is A, so I love to joke that, you know, my initials are LAF, laugh, okay? But that's at the top because it makes it easy for you to find your tube. It's the first thing at the top, all right? Never label the cap. Why not?
The cap could fall off.
That's right. And then you don't know what's in here, and you're gonna say, well, isn't it contaminated? But if it's really something bad, don't you kind of want to know what's in there? Yes, okay? So never label a cap, all right? Okay, then the second thing is I am transferring this bacteria known as Serratia marchescens, and we're not gonna write out Serratia marchescens like the texts have, but we are gonna use the initials, SM, okay? So under SM, okay? Then the next thing, the date. And micro people never use the year. Why not? This tube will not, nor this one will not last a year. Okay? The bacteria are gonna die. That's why we're doing the transfer. They'll die in about a month. All right? So most micro people don't use the year, but today is, 7, July 5. You don't need the year. Okay. If you want, today is not important, but down the line, okay, I already mentioned this broth in here, this type of media is called tea soy broth, okay? But you really wouldn't write that out either. You would write TS, or if you want tea soy, you don't need that because everything in the beginning now we're using is tea soy. All right, down the line we will be using different media, so then you should state, what media is in here. Okay, so that's your label. And by the way, on the test I'll be looking for that too. proper label, okay? So I always say that's the first thing you do. Okay, all right. Now, to do a transfer, I'm not supposed to talk and I'm supposed to do it really fast. But I have to talk because I have to teach you, okay? So you have to realize this is not typically the way it's done, but all right. The first thing you're gonna do with your broth, anytime you have a broth, it looks very cloudy or turbid, but see there's some sediment or bacteria at the bottom? You always want it nicely mixed, all right? There's two ways of mixing bacteria. You can do this, which I like, that's my way, okay? But you can also kind of make a circle like this. Either way will mix, if you look, see the sediment is gone, it's been mixed. Always mix, even if your friend was using this tube 1 second before you and they mixed. Mix, it's part of the procedure. If you have a broth, mix, okay? So we're mixing, and of course the cap is tight, all right? You don't want the cap loose if you're mixing, all right? Never, and I'm really making sure this cap is tight, never mix bacteria like that. Why? Because if the cap was loose, what? Not only all over you, all over all your friends, all over the table, all over everywhere, okay? So, mixing this way or this way, and I always say just to be on the safe side, make sure the cap is tight, all right? But now, in order to make my transfer, I'm gonna make sure the cap is loose. I'm not taking it off because if I really took it off, what? The bacteria from the air would, or from my skin would fall in and contaminate it. But it's really loose. Everybody see that? This one's not a screw cap, but I'm kind of loosening it up also. All right. There's two ways of making a transfer. The book shows one way. I'm going to show you another way also. And you can have your choice because both are correct. Okay? I'll show you the way that the book does it first. You hold both tubes in the same hand. Okay? Sometimes people put their finger between the tubes. Whatever is comfortable. All right? Now, aseptic technique. If I open the caps, aren't the bacteria from the air going to drop in and contaminate? I want this to be Serratia marchescens, not the bacteria from the air going into this fresh tube. So this is the idea of aseptic technique. How do I keep this Serratia marchescens and nothing else? All right? When I take off the tubes, first of all, I'm going to hold the tubes at an angle. Because if you hold them straight up, bacteria from the air do have more of a tendency to drop in. Okay? So hold them at an angle. But then when I open the caps, I'm going to put the open tubes in front of the port, the hole here, of the incinerator. Now, once upon a time, these incinerators used to be Bunsen burners, an open flame. Everybody know what a Bunsen burner is? And you'd actually pass the top of the tubes through the flame. Okay, we don't use flames anymore. These are much better, okay, in terms of that. But you want to do that same concept, all right? So putting the open tubes in front of the port. The flame, if you had a Bunsen burner or this port, creates a convection current of heat that keeps the bacteria from the air out. And there's your aseptic technique, all right? Okay, so I'm going to hold them at an angle. I'm going to open the tubes, all right? And we still call it flaming, even though this isn't a Bunsen burner and we're not using an open flame anymore. And you're going to flame, all right? But before I do that, I want my loop to be sterile, all right? So now, if you're sterilizing your loop, your hand never comes off the handle. And I mentioned this on Monday, I never want to see this. Especially on the test, I will yell at you any other lab, but during the test, you will lose credit. I won't even say anything. I'll just go -5 or whatever, okay? So you're holding the loop, your hand does not come off the handle, all right, in the incinerator. but I'm gonna sterilize my loop, and it'll stay sterile long enough for me to do the aseptic transfer. So, 5 seconds. It's glowing. I'm gonna open this and this, and this and this, and flame, and go in. Go to the bottom. Boom. And go straight into here. Boom. Flame, flame. Don't get your caps mixed up. This cap goes here, okay? And then this cap goes here. I flamed as I opened, I flamed as I closed. Did you notice that? You can't put this down. Why not? Bacteria. So you gotta what? Sterilize your loop. And again, it only takes about, if it comes out and it's glowing red, and again, it's hard for people to see because the glow almost stops as I pull it out, but if it's glowing, it's sterile, all right? Then you can put your loop down, you can put it here, some people put it in their rack, all right? This transfer is done, okay? All right? This cap is inherent the way it is, it lets in air, but this cap, it's a screw cap, and to then leave your bacteria, we had it tight to mix, but bacteria need to breathe. Most of your bacteria, especially the ones that invade our body, are like us. They're aerobes, they like oxygen. So you're gonna close the cap and then turn it back just 1/4 of a turn. The tube isn't coming off, the cap isn't coming off, but you can hear it kind of shaky. It isn't coming off, I can't pull it off, but it's letting in oxygen. This is called cracking the cap, all right? Okay, and there's that transfer, all right? Let's do the other one. Let's do it again, okay? I said there's 2 ways of doing it. All right, some people don't like holding both in the same hand. They get confused, all right, whatever. They get caps mixed up. These 2 caps look very different, but sometimes you're using 2 caps that look the same, all right? And you can't get, the cap that was on the bacteria mixed up with the fresh cap. That makes sense, all right? Okay, but there is another way. It takes a little longer, but other professionals do this also, and they'll do this. So let's start from scratch. I close this, I mix it, even though I mixed it a second ago, I labeled, I'm gonna pretend, I just labeled, okay? And we start with what? Loosening the caps, okay? And the second way is instead of holding both tubes in the hand at the same time, okay, you take 1 tube at a time. This takes a little bit longer because you have to flame more, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that. So sterilize my loop. Let's get it sterile, even though I'm just demoing, okay? Open the cap with pinky, but it's already very loose. Flame, go in and get your bacteria. Flame, close it. It doesn't have to be tight, tight, tight. You'll do that. Open, flame, go in, inoculate. Flame, close. It's a little different from the first way. Don't put your loop down because it has bacteria on it. Sterilize it. All right? Okay? And I think I'm going to use this again. Yeah, number 2 is broth to slant, so I'm going to use this again. Okay, all right, but I made my transfer. There would be a rack in here. I'll add a rack here, and you can wait to put all your tubes in at the same time, but it would go into the incubation bucket. Okay, so this is done. All right, so let's do number 2, which is broth to slant. Again, just to get all this other stuff kind of out of the way. Broth to slant. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to label, you know, here, LAF. It's still Serratia marchescens. Today is still 7/5. There. I'm not listing the media. Okay. And I'll make that list on the blackboard for the label. Okay, I'll just write it up on the blackboard. Okay. Close the cap, mix. And I know you're going to say this is mixed. It's part of the procedure. Open the tube. Do you need those tubes opened? If you forget that, don't panic if you forget that. Just start again. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, you'll have your loop sterilized and you'll go, oh shoot, I can't get the cap off. Just, you know, put the tube down or put the loop down, you know, put it back down. You'll have to re-sterilize it. Open your cap and start again, okay? If you forget to open your cap. But here it goes, okay. And this one, I'll do this way, but maybe the next one I'll do the other way that I showed you. Okay, so again, sterilize my loop. This one you're gonna have to see. Okay, take off this cap. Actually, I'm supposed to do that one and that one. Sometimes people, ooh, come on. It's not cooperating with me. Okay, sometimes people try to get both caps kind of in their pinky at the same time. All right, I flamed, I'm going in. Okay, now I'll show you better what I'm doing with the slant, but I'm doing that, flame, and close, and this is the cap that gave me some problem. There it is. Okay, don't put this down, sterilize. All right. I'll do it again the other way, okay? I'm going to take some shortcuts as a demo, but keep in mind, you can't take the shortcut. You do the right thing, understand? So I mix this, I label this. Let's do it one at a time, because then you're going to get to see this better. So when you hold the tubes one at a time instead of in both hands at the same time, you got to do extra flaming. You got to always flame as you open and always flame as you close, understand? So here, flame. Go in and get your organism, flame, close, open, flame. Okay, now this, it may get contaminated, but I want you to see it. I'm skating, I'm going down here, and I call it ice skating across the surface of the auger. Everybody see that? Once. Once is important. Mm-hmm. Flame, close, because you didn't see that when I did it the first way, you couldn't, okay? That's the way you inoculate a slant. I call it ice skating. Try not to dig your loop into the auger of the slant, okay? All right, let's go to, what's next? Slant to broth? Yeah. Okay, now this is a different bacteria. We're talking about the bacteria on the slant, which is different from this other one that was Serratia marchescens. This is Micrococcus luteus. Micrococcus luteus is what's called a non-pathogen, which means it doesn't really want to go into your body. I wouldn't have it for dinner, okay? You know, always treat bacteria with respect, but this really is not dangerous. It's what's called a non-pathogen, all right? All right, and we're going to what? Broth. So here, either one of these here, this one. All right, and again, you know, label, well, I'll carry through. Maybe the last one, I'll just say, you know, you gotta do a label. Okay, and again, first thing, not on the cap, my initials. This organism is Micrococcus luteus, ML is the abbreviation, and today's date, 7/5. There, I'm labeled. Okay. Now this, there's no mixing, because there's nothing to mix, it's not a liquid. But there's something that you do for this. So if you're working with the broth, you have to remember to mix. But if you're working with the bacteria on a slant, you have to remember something else. Okay, so broth, you mix, but this, you gotta tap your loop to cool it. Okay, and I'll do one at a time. That's my favorite way, that it just is, okay? Other people are very, very proficient at doing the other type, you know, where they hold both tubes at the same time. All right, here's my loop, it's sterilized. This cap comes off pretty easy, so I didn't loosen it, okay. I'm gonna open it and flame, but before I go in, the loop is really hot from being sterilized. So I'm gonna go inside and tap a couple of times. Some people go not where the bacteria is, but on the side of the auger, and they dig their loop a little bit into the auger. That also cools the loop. But if you don't cool your loop, and I want to keep this sterile, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to fry the bacteria as you pick them up on the loop, and then you're not going to do any transfer at all, okay? So now, just a touch. Whoop. Did people see that? Let me sterilize this loop, because I want to get rid of what's on it. Okay, and actually, there's a little burnt residue. This is sterilized, it's okay, so I can do this. Okay, because it's been sterilized, you get rid of that residue. All right, but sterilize the loop. Hold the tube at an angle, open it, flame, go in. This is the way I prefer to tap. Cool the loop, then just a touch is enough. Flame, close, open, flame, put it in, flame, closed, don't put down your loop, sterilize it. That's number 3. Got it? Okay, and finally, 4, all right, 4 is slant. It's a slant. So again, I label, okay? I label, I'm trying to do this quick because you're supposed to do it, all right? I label. I can loosen these caps, but these kind, the screw caps, you really have to make sure they're loose. This kind comes off pretty easy, all right? But flame. Come on. You're not really ready. Okay, it's glowing. Open. Flame, tap to cool. Okay, just a touch. Whoop. Flame, close this one up, flame, and I'll hold this so that people can see this again. Come in. 1 ice skate across the surface of the auger up. Flame, close. Incinerate your loop. Never take the hand off the handle. Questions? Okay.